Researchers are testing just how effective the life-saving antiretroviral medicines still are. The drugs have transformed the lives of HIV patients, turning a potentially lethal immunodeficiency disease into a chronic illness that can be managed. Like some infections which are becoming resistant to antibiotics, doctors are concerned that the effectiveness of antiretroviral medicines is being compromised, especially in poorer nations where the supply of ARVs is inconsistent.
The example I've got here is atazanavir, which is one of the second-line agents available to treat HIV. And I'm preparing drug diluters so I can work out in the fullness of time how much drug I need to treat a certain virus. So what will produce graphs like this, and I can tell from that graph the minimum dose of a drug I need to treat a certain strain of HIV. So later on I'll be infecting some cells with HIV, but in the presence of the drug. Then I can measure the concentration of drug I need to treat that virus.
The Lancet study looked at resistance to tenofovir, which is the drug of choice when fighting HIV. Resistant strains were found in 60% of patients in sub-Saharan Africa and 20% among patients treated in Europe. More concerning is that 2/3 of patients with tenofovir-resistant strains have also become resistant to both other drugs in their regimen, indicating that their treatment had been completely compromised.
Drug resistance is the virus's way of adapting to the drug pressure on it. And as we know, HIV is one of the most mutagenic or prone to mutation organisms that we know of. It has a replication machinery that is designed to make lots of mistakes when it copies its genetic code. And therefore, these mutations and drug resistance are a very, very natural and obvious consequence of suboptimal levels of drug in the patient. And that only happens really when patients don't take their medications regularly as they need to.
The study looked at patients who've been on antiretrovirals between 1998 and 2015. They came from a range of income groups.
Individuals in high-income and middle-income countries, they may have, in general, better care, but of course there are personal circumstances and social circumstances why they may miss out treatment. So, for example, they may have not disclosed to their friends and family, so they may not carry medication with them. They may have other socioeconomic issues such as housing and other competing demands on their lives, which make treatment failure more likely in these individuals.
Antiretroviral drugs are now being made available to 15 million people worldwide, but there is a worry that when they're distributed by low-skilled healthcare workers, there is less monitoring and less adherence to a regular drug regimen. Doctors like Gupta believe tenofovir is a very potent drug with few side effects, and there aren't any good alternatives that can be deployed as easily. Researchers believe that when a patient's virus becomes resistant to first-line drugs, the next stage is expensive second-line treatment with greater side effects. Many patients do not have access to such drugs, so it's important to try to preserve the effectiveness of first-line treatment. Catherine Ogunde, CCTV.